Welcome, one and all. Fingal you, Muggle one off, Cthulhu, Rilya, Waganoggle, Fatagan. Okay. Now let's do... where is my virtual machine? Here it is. Let's bring it over here. Okay, we're logging in. So what are we covering today? So I did go to... I was asked to cover what a padding oracle attack is, and we're going to do just that. We're going to do just that in the typical fashion, which is I went to ipsec.rocks and searched for padding oracle, and lazy came up. HacktheBox's lazy came up. So all I know about this box is that it has a padding oracle attack involved with it. Here we go. Yeah, it looks like it's a medium box. It looks like it is medium, and it has a padding oracle attack involved, and that's what we're gonna do today. Why not do the challenge I sent you? Because this will be more complete. Then we get to the satisfaction of getting root. Okay, but we could do... Which challenge did you send me, Bobhead? We could just do both. Why don't we just do both? Let's just do both. What challenge is it? Bobhead, you're going to have to be a little bit more... You're going to have to be a little bit more descriptive. Because I don't remember. You're expecting me to remember, and I don't remember. Crack station is down. Oh, it feels bad, man. Magic. Okay, yeah, we'll do that one first. Tell you what, we'll do that one first to assuage Bobhead. We will do that one first. There we go. Good enough. All right, there we go. All right, let's see. Magic. Challenges. It's in web challenges, you said? Oh, man, I've done a lot of these. Retired. I know magic. Okay, is this one? I know magic? Okay, yeah, I've completed this one actually, but we'll do it anyways. Hey, can we do a stream beer review for every session? The beer at the end of a stream, we have a few days to try it out. I'm not good with beer, my man. I'm not the guy for beer. I'm not the guy to talk about for beer recommendations. Don't you have YouTubes? Like, yeah, I'm recording right now. It's always recording. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna record. We're recording. We're gonna do both. We're gonna talk about what let's do a Stream Raiders battle really quick so I don't fall behind. Review Nalgene bottles. They're all the same. Lukewarm what? You guys are so brutal. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, let's just ignore chat. We're gonna ignore chat today. We're learning about padding oracle attacks, my friends. Padding oracle attacks. All right, so we started this instance. I have to connect to the VPN. Okay, hang on. Kelly Dark. Okay. And let's get burp going as well. We will surely need burp for a web challenge. And I'm going to get water while burp starts up because it's a ignore chat just like every other day. I take offense to that. I take offense to that, Titanium. I have never once ignored chat. I love my chat. Me and chat are besties. I'm going to go get water. I'll be right back. Come on, honey. Go nap like you're normally doing this time. Say hello. Say hello to the stream. Say hello to the stream. Say hello. Say hello to the stream. Alright, she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to. Does Allhousered have a roommate besides Star? Nope, just Star. Just Star. But I do talk to her a lot, so if you hear me talk when I'm off camera, that's who I'm talking to. She doesn't like being held very much. There you go. He's taunting us with that helmet back there. Yeah, I'm getting better with the backdrop. We're getting better with the backdrop. We're working on it. We got new artwork behind my head, as you can see. Who did the art? Okay, so that one came from fineartamerica.com, and I just really liked it. And those two came, the ones right behind my head came from Displate. All right, where are we at here? So we got, let's turn intercept off. Okay, where's my instance? Okay. Okay, so we should, I think, be able to browse to it now. If I haven't done one of these challenges in a while. What have you missed? You haven't missed anything, psych. We're going to start working on some padding Oracle attacks. First, we're going to do HacktheBox's I Know Magic challenge. And then we will proceed to HacktheBox's Lazy, which I know also has a padding Oracle attack. And don't worry, I'm going to explain how a padding Oracle attack works when we discover it. All right, can we browse to this? Okay, good. So we have so here we have a login page. All right, let me just let me just change the challenge, okay? There we go. All right, there we go. So now it's we've set the challenge. All right, so what we see a register and we see a login. So the goal of this challenge is to get to the profile page of the admin. It does say this on the actual challenge. This is a retired challenge, so I'm not breaking any terms of service or anything like that. And it says it is a medium challenge. So, all right. So the first thing we can try is we can just try some simple logins here. I don't think either of these is going to work. We can also take this, put it into burp. Yes. Okay. Okay. So we want to capture all the traffic to this location. We can try another one. We can try admin, password, log in. And let's take a look at the request. We do see a session ID here. Admin password. And the response, it says incorrect password. Yeah, invalid username or password. Okay, so we can try to register here. Username, obviously. Email address, Cthulhu at realyeh.com. And we'll make the password Cthulhu Fatagan. Cthulhu, Fatagan, register. Okay, so now we can log in. Cool. So now we're logged in. We see a user profile here. Let's take a look at the requests. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that there's now, once you're logged in, there is another cookie. So let's send this to repeater. We do see that there is this other cookie here. It appears to be base 64 encoded data, so let's take this out, take a look at it. Mictor, I know magic. Okay, so we can echo. Well, this has to be DURL encoded, does it not? So we can Control-Shift-U to DURL encode it and copy it. Echo. Paste that in. Pipe that to base 64-D. So we see it's gibberish. It's binary data. Turn it down a little bit. Okay. Turning it down just a smidge. You're the only streamer I watch 30-second ads for. I'm sorry, I don't run those ads. That's all just Twitch. I'm not running any ads on my stream. Fundamentally Broken, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Fatagan to you, by the way. Cyberchef. Okay, so what, I mean, I can already see what this is. This is encrypted. This is encrypted data. So, what we can try and do is, we want to just change, let's try, Cyberchef might can make it a little easier to work with. So I want to demonstrate what I'm trying to demonstrate here. You know, it might be easier if I just do it this way. Okay, so let's just change this K to, I don't know, an L. Okay? And it's still loaded the... That's interesting. It still loaded this. But if we just... Let's just lop off this stuff at the end here. And we'll send this. And you notice that we get an 500 internal server error. Notice that we're getting an internal server error. That's important. Does it say anything interesting? It doesn't say anything about padding specifically. But okay, so this is actually pretty realistic to what you'd see in the wild if something was vulnerable to a padding oracle attack, okay? So what we've done here is I just lopped off the end of the encrypted string. And you can't just do that with encryption. You can't just lop off the end and expect it to decrypt properly. Instead, what's happening is we can talk, we're going to have to talk about encryption a little bit more in depth. Oh, great. Now this is a Super Bowl stream. You're the only streamer I watch now? Sick of those gaming streams? Well, that's the majority of the website, so you must be sick of a lot of streams. All right, so what's happening here is we have corrupted this encrypted text. We have corrupted this encrypted text to strip it of its padding. So let's do a notepad stream really quick so I can demonstrate what this means. So notepad. Okay. So let's say we're encrypting the text AAAA. Let's say this is 8 characters of A's. And let's say we're also encrypting 8 characters of B's. Okay? So And let's further say, Dr. Vim, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu for talking to you. Bush Lane with the 3-month Prime resubscription. Welcome back to the All House Red Team, my friend. I like last week's Cthulhu hoodie better. We got lots more hoodies coming. We're gonna be. There's quite a variety of hoodies. All right, so let's say that for the sake of argument, the block size is 8. So, this attack works on a variety of different kinds of encryption. But the most commonly known is a cipher blockchaining type. So we've been through what cipher blockchaining is. Let's look at it. Let's refresh our memory on exactly what cipher blockchaining is, though. Let's just refresh our memory a little bit. I've been a sub and since day one, changed my role on Discord. What do you mean change your role on Discord? Like you're already, it says you're a sub. I'm double checking now. Look, I don't set your role in Discord. I don't know why you have to link your Discord to your Twitch account. This sounds like a you problem, my friend. You have to link your Twitch account to your Discord account to Twitch, and then it will work. I didn't go off. The dude 31. I did not go off on my chat. Me and my chat are best friends. Yo, wait, really? Yeah, it's your fault. It's a you problem. Okay, but thank you so much for the 4-month Prime resubscription. Thank you so much. Big Mama Tristana, I am not molding against my own chat. Wait for me to mold against this challenge. God damn it. Okay, well, all right. CBC cipher. I am not molding against my own chat. I love chat. Chat and I are besties. Porch Logic, thank you for the follow, Cthulhu Fatagan. All right. So let us remind ourselves what cipher blockchaining involves. So, recall that with the electronic code book cipher, symmetric encryption can only work on certain block sizes at a time. So essentially, let's go back to Notepad really quick. Essentially, if we were encrypting this string of A's and B's right here, with AES cipher, ECB with electronic codebook cipher, what would happen is we would get what would happen is it would take the first, let's say it's a block size of 8, okay? And by block size we mean the key length. So let's say the key is 8 bytes long. So it's going to encrypt for 8 bytes. If the key is 16 bytes long, it's going to encrypt every 16 bytes. Every 16 bytes at a time. But we'll just say it's 8 just for the sake of argument right now. So it's going to encrypt this block, and then it's going to encrypt this block, and it'll just chain those two blocks together, and there's your electronic codebook cipher. This is weak if you start encrypting like a long string of the same value. Recall that, again, we've done this on stream before. If we encrypted this long string right here, it's going to be an electronic codebook cipher is going to break this up into 8 byte chunks here. Let's I remember I found a nice convenient thing online to demonstrate this. Aes Encryption online. This will probably work. Let's see. Yep, this was it. Okay, so remember this had ECB and CBC. Perfect. So we want to. Let me illustrate the difference between ECB and CBC again. So the key size, we'll make it 128 bits, for the sake of argument today. And let's just enter a whole fuckload of A's. Okay, let's enter a whole fuckload of A's here. So if you encrypt all of these A's using the electronic codebook ECB algorithm, we're going to encrypt. What did I forget? Oh, the key. The key can just be Cthulhu Fatagan. It's probably not the right length, but we can try it anyways. 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we're extra emphatic with our Cthulhu Fhtagn. There we go. We encrypt. And now let's take this out. Here's our encrypted ciphertext right here. It's base 64 encoded, but you'll still be able to see what I want to show you. So we will look at this ciphertext. Who sees the problem with this ciphertext? Who sees the problem here with this ciphertext? That's right. It's repeating. What happened? What the fuck happened to my music? Excuse me. Did I stutter? Fucking. Here we go. So yeah. So you don't want your ciphertext to be like this. Your ciphertext should be as random as possible. But here we have is repeating cipher it's repeating. It's repeating. So so ECB is very weak. And because it's repeating, you can take this and you can reverse it back to the clear text. We're not going to go over how exactly you would do that right now, but because you can derive information about from the ciphertext, such as a bunch of repeating values, you can break this encryption. So the way to fix that is to use something like CBC, cipher block chaining. So let's encrypt this same text right here, same key. We are going to have to enter an initialization vector. It says optional. We'll leave it there so we won't confuse anybody. We'll encrypt it. All right, here's our ciphertext. Notice all we changed was the mode. All we changed was the mode here. So we come down here, paste this in, and now notice there's no repeating here. There's no repeating here. So how is this accomplished? How is this accomplished? Okay, so how this is accomplished is we go over here. Fuck. Come on. Okay. Okay, so here is electronic code book encryption right here. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. So as I said, this is why. So you take the plain text, you take the key, and then you byte by byte, you encrypt it. This is the ECB mode. Recall, this is the weak ECB mode. And so you can see that if you have the same plain text in each of these blocks, the ciphertext is going to be the same. That's why we get this repeating pattern over here. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that make sense? So you get this repeating pattern because every 16 bytes, or every 16 bytes, at least in the 128-bit encryption, every 16 bytes is the same 16 bytes. It's 16 bytes of A's. Okay? It's 16 bytes of A's, and every 16 bytes of A's is going to encrypt to the same ciphertext. So you're going to end up with a repeating pattern of blocks that are all chained together. So the way you fix this is you do something like CBC. So this is a little bit more complicated. Just a smidge more complex here. So now you'll see that we take the plain text and we're taking something called an initialization vector and we're XORing them together. That's what this symbol is. We're XORing. Okay, we're XOR. XOR. XOR stands for exclusive OR. Okay, we've been over XOR on stream before. Yep. We XOR so this first block, we XOR the plain text with the initialization vector before we start with the encryption. Then we encrypt, and then we get our ciphertext. And then we do our next block, and we XOR this plain text block with the ciphertext block, with the previous block ciphertext. So we're XOR. It's XOR, XOR. It's XOR. It's pronounced XOR, exclusive OR. Exclusive OR. It is a bitwise operation. The Man 2, thank you for the follow, Cthulhu Fhtagn. And then we encrypt it, and then we get another block of ciphertext. And then it just keeps going down the chain. And so, as you can see, this is why it's called cipher block chaining, because every block is chained with the next. And so a change of a single byte of plain text will change every subsequent byte of ciphertext. Because of the way every block is XORed with the previous block's ciphertext. XOR whatever. As XORed or XORed, I call it XOR. I like XOR better. It sounds better to me. Does that make sense to everybody? That's why we don't have this repeating pattern. We do not have a repeating pattern with this one because every block is XORed or XORed with the previous block's ciphertext. God damn it, I keep clicking the wrong things here. Sorry. Here we are. Okay. Is everyone following? Is everyone following me? It's crucial that you understand this to understand the attack that we're about to do. It is crucial that we understand this. If you have questions, ask. This is like critical. Basically, every block has a different IV. Exactly. So because when you encrypt the first block, you don't have a previous block ciphertext to work with. So that's where this initialization vector, also known as a nonce, comes in. Okay. Is everyone following? Mark a boost. Thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Fatagan to you, my friend. Let's do a Stream Raiders battle before we continue. If you have questions, please ask, because it's only going to get more complex from here. I can't find this box on Hack the Box. This is a challenge, not a box. It's under Hack the Box challenges. We're going to do a box later. We're going to do a challenge now and then a box. This challenge apparently I've done before, but I don't remember it. So we're picking it because they specifically do padding oracle attacks. So again, this type of encryption also has a weakness. And the weakness is involved. The weakness involves how every single block is chained to the next one. So changing one byte of this block will change this block, etc. Okay. And it also involves just how XOR works. So let's Google XOR really quick. Exclusive OR. So exclusive OR is part of bitwise logic. So if you have two bits, A's and B, and bits can either be 0 or 1, true or false, Boolean values. Okay? If you XOR two bits together and they're both 0, the output is going to be 0. If you XOR both of them together and they're both 1s, it's going to be 0. So an XOR bit is only 1 if one bit is false and the other bit is true. If the bits are different, then the XOR is true. The XOR result is true. Okay? So what this results in is... And I've gone over this on stream before. But we'll do it again because it's crucial to understand this. I don't like this site. This site's always so fucking weird. Can we do XOR encrypt? Okay, maybe this will work. Okay, so let's try and XOR Cthulhu Fatagan. And how many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. We're going to do a binary XOR. Let's see what it looks like in binary. And for the key, we will put this is 15 chars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is 15 chars. Okay. There we go. Encrypt it. So what did this spit out? What is this? Is this binary? What is this? Can we just do hex? Okay, so we have hex output. Man, I liked the one we used last time much better. There's got to be a better one than this. There was a much better one we used last time. God damn it. There we go. This is what we wanted. Okay, so Cthulhu, Fatagan. And the second input is going to be, this is 15 chars. Okay. So XOR is kind of like, it's kind of, you can use it as encoding. Zor can be used as encoding, and I'm about to show you how. So this is going to be ASCII. This is going to be ASCII. We're going to calculate it. So it spits it out in hex. Okay, so this is the Zor. These two values, Zored together, make this in hex. Okay? Now, incidentally, so the way you unzor this is you take this. So this is hexadecimal. Okay? And you take the key. You take the key right here. You calculate Zor. And we put this in ASCII. Calculate Zor. And notice we get Cthulhu Patagon right back. So we take the Zored value and we Zor it again with the key. With this is 15 chars okay. And we get the original value back. Cool, right? And now, incidentally, let's say we take this, the Zored value. Let's Zor it with Cthulhu Patagon instead. Let's Zor it with that. What do you think we're going to get now? What do you think we're going to get when we take the Zored value of the key and Cthulhu Patagon and we Zor it with Cthulhu Patagon? What do you think we're going to get? We get this is 15 chars okay. So this is kind of a cool like property of XOR. XOR, Zor, whatever you want to end up calling it. Sequoia, and Top Clean. Thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Patagon to the both of you. Markaboost and the Mana Man 2. I think you both followed and I didn't recognize you either. So if I didn't, Cthulhu Patagon to the both of you as well. So there you go. So this is cool, right? So you can actually unzor. If you know any three values, if you take any three values and, where you take any two values and you Zor it together and get like a third value, which is the Zored value of both of those two. Any two of those values Zored together, any two of those three resulting values. Let me just show this in Notepad. So the three values in this case are Cthulhu Patagon. This is 15 chars okay. And this long string of hex. This is the Zored value of these two. But any two of these values Zored together gives the third value. So if you Zor this together with this, you get this value. If you score this and this, you of course get that value. If you Zor this and this, you get Cthulhu Patagon. Are you following me? Is everyone following me? This is again crucial to understand. Crucial to understand for understanding how this cryptography attack is going to work. This padding oracle attack that we're going to do. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Zor is a pretty useful. I've used Zor to do custom encoding in assembly before. It's a very common way to just do a simple encoding scheme to scramble your text. So let's go back to these A's and B's, okay? Let's go back to these. Okay? So let's pretend we are going to encrypt these values together. Okay, or these we're going to encrypt this string, okay? In cipher block chaining mode, and it's going to be it's going to be 8 bytes for the block size. So each of these, there's going to be 2 blocks. You lost me on that last part. Which part, the dude? If you let me know which part, I'll explain it again. But keep going. Okay. All right. All right. So moving on from Zor a little bit. Lucky Wonder Boy, thank you for Lucky Wander Boy, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Patagon to you, my friend. So let's say we're going to encrypt this string of 8 A's and 8 B's, and the block size is going to be 8 bytes. So there are going to be 2 blocks. Remember that CBC. Let's look back at CBC again. Recall that CBC will split your text up into blocks. Okay? It'll split your text up into blocks. So this is going to be the A's, 8 A's right here, and 8 B's right here. Okay? So then there's going to be an initialization vector. The initialization vector is known to us. We know what the initialization vector is. We're gonna Zor the 8 A's with the initialization vector, and then we're going to encrypt it. We're going to put it through AES, the AES encryption algorithm. We're going to end up with some ciphertext. Then we're going to take the 8 B's and we're going to XOR them with the ciphertext of the 8 A's. The ciphertext we just came up with. We're going to XOR with the next block's plaintext. Then we're going to encrypt that and get another block of ciphertext. And then we're done, since there's only 2 blocks, right? Pretty neat. That's a really cool way besides padding Oracle. I hope you'll be awake when you do it. So if it's not padding Oracle, I bet you... we'll talk about it when we get there. There's a number of ways, and Pentester Lab is great for this. If you want to know about these cool cryptography attacks, I highly recommend Pentester Lab. Pentester Lab has 1,000 different challenges on encryption. And so one cool thing you can do, for example, like let's say we know for example that this we're dealing with an encrypted cookie, right? So let's open up. We know that there's an encrypted cookie. So if the cookie has something like, let's say this is the encrypted. Let's say this is let's make it smaller so that we can see. So let's say this is just admin encrypted. Like it's just literally the username that's been encrypted. Okay. You could try to change this first byte. You could try and just change the first byte of this ciphertext. You could maybe declare a username of BDMIN. Instead of admin, it'd be BDMIN. And then you could just change that first byte until you ended up with the encrypted ciphertext of admin. Does that make sense? So that's a cool, and I learned that off of Pentester Lab. Burp does that for you? Okay, well, I don't know how to do it in Burp, but I've done it intruder bit flipping. Okay, cool. So Burp has that sort of bit flipping, functionality. I've never used it for that because I rarely see cookies like this anymore that are just encrypted usernames. But that is one thing you can do. I learned that on Pentester Lab. One of the attacks on Pentester Lab was to do that. One of the challenges on Pentester Lab was to break an application doing that. It's actually what I meant. It's also a way on lazy. Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a common way that you can think about. If it's CBC encryption, if it's weak to a padding oracle, chances are it's also weak to that attack, depending on how the username is structured. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna focus on the padding oracle today, but that is a cool alternate method if you'd like to read a write-up or something and find out how to do that alternate method. I don't know how to do it in Intruder. Maybe we can look at how to do it in Intruder when we get there. We'll see how much time we have left. All right, so, but let's say, for example, we're not encrypting. Notice that our ciphertext here fits comfortably into 2 blocks. We have an 8-byte block size, and the ciphertext is 16 bytes, which is very comfortable because it perfectly makes 2 blocks. But let's say, for example, we only encrypt that much. What happens then? How does encryption handle this? Because remember, encryption can only work on bytes of fixed size. The blocks are the blocks of fixed size. So this block must be every block must be 8 bytes if it's 8 bytes padding. So you guys are Angel D, and Smash 8 Tap is on top of it, okay? So what's going to happen is this is going to be padded. There's going to be padding added. And there's multiple kinds of padding that can potentially be used, but PKCS5 is the most commonly used. Okay? So PKCS5 is going to Zero Shot Professor. Thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Photogin to you. So the 4 more bytes need to be added to the end of this so that it fills, so that it can be encrypted. So the way PKCS5 padding works is it's going to add 4 bytes of 4 of the hexadecimal value 4. Does that make sense? So each of these are 1 byte. I know each of these is 1 byte, and it's the hexadecimal value of 4. Okay, and let's say for example it's encrypting. We add 2 more B's here, so that only needs to add padding of 2 bytes. Then it's going to be hexadecimal of 2. Does that make sense? So it fills the it pads with the number of bytes, or it pads for a number of bytes equal to the value that it's padding with. So it's going to, if it needs to pad for 2 bytes, it's going to take the hexadecimal value of 2 and put 2 2s at the end. Why is it hex 4? It's hex 4. It's gonna be however it's gonna be the hex value of whatever number is the number of bytes it needs to pad by. So if it needs to pad by 2 bytes, it's gonna be hexadecimal value of 2. So let's say there's another B. Let's say we only need to pad by 1 byte. Now we only need to put 1 byte of padding. Then it's gonna be just 0x1. Does that make sense? Is everyone following me on how the padding works? Again, there's multiple kinds of padding. PKCS5 is probably the most common though. So this is the most common kind of padding out there. Okay? So this introduces a problem. This introduces a problem if you're able to submit ciphertext and tell if it has bad padding or not. So let me explain. Let me explain. Here, notice we submit this. We lopped off all of this. We lopped off the end of. Well, let's just go back so I can do this again. So we send it. Did I change? I changed the value, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Was it K at the end before? I changed it to an L, I think. Fuck. Okay, well let's just look at. Let's remove this from a repeater. History. Let's send this to repeater. Oh, I forgot to re-URL encode it. Whoops. Okay, so notice we get a 200 OK here. But if we change this K to an L, so if we fuck up the end of this ciphertext where the padding is, notice what happens. Oh, we still get a 200 OK because I didn't change anything. So let's change. Let's just lop that off. We'll just lop off those last few. And notice we get a 500 internal server error. Why do we get an internal server error? Explain to me, chat, why we're getting an internal server error. So IceWolf is correct. So what we've done here is we fucked up the padding so that it can't be decrypted properly. So what's happening here is that the application is trying to decrypt this, and it's finding it doesn't decrypt because the padding is incorrect. It decrypts to gibberish. The padding is incorrect. So it's throwing an error. It is throwing an error here. Yes, when it uses the key to decode the cipher, it comes out with garbage. Yes, that's essentially what's happening. The encryption is failing, or the decryption is failing, because we've messed up the padding. So, what ends up happening here is that we can tell the difference between good padding and bad padding. If the encrypted ciphertext has correct padding, it will return a 200 OK. You will get a 200 OK if the padding is correct. If the padding is not correct, you get a 500 internal server error. This is the core of the padding oracle attack. Padding oracle attacks result when certain kinds of encryption, like Aes Cbc, cipher blockchaining, result in an internal server error if the decryption fails. Because what you can do is you can flip this. You can take this. This base 60. You can take the last byte of this ciphertext and continually flip it on a maximum of 256 times, and keep sending requests to the server until you get one that has correct padding. Okay, when you get one that has correct, when you find a final ciphertext that has correct padding, what you know... let's look back at this. Okay, so... let us say... it's easier if you just, like, forget this other part. Forget these other two. Let's focus on this one right here for right now. God damn it. It's trying to be smart. Okay, focus on this one for right now. So we control this initialization vector. So we can send, let us take, let's do it the decryption one because that'll make more sense. I know this is going to be a little bit hard to understand. It's going to be a little bit complicated. That's okay. Okay, so here's our ciphertext that we're sending the application, right? Ignore this. Ignore this. Ignore this. It'll be simpler if we just look at one block. So what's happening is the application is taking what we send it, it's decrypting it, and it's going to take the initialization vector that we are adding on, and it's going to try and revert it back to the plain text. All right. So if we can flip this bit, we can flip this and see if it results in a plain text of different. In a plain text that has correct padding to see if it decrypts properly. If it does, it only 1 byte out of 256 possible byte values that it can be. There are 256 possible values for a byte. So the maximum number of bytes you would have to send in order to get a result that was correct is 256. Okay, so eventually, after you're going to send it a byte that decrypts properly and has correct padding. And because you know that, you can figure out what this intermediate value is. You can figure out what this value, because you know what this is, you know what the initialization vector is, and you know what the ciphertext is. By the way, we're flipping this. We're flipping the initialization vector, not the ciphertext. So if you know this and you know this, remember these are being XORed together, okay? These are being XORed together. So what we know is this value, and we know this value, and we know it has correct padding at the end, so we know the padding. So we can figure out this intermediate value. And if we can figure out this intermediate value, we can figure out the plain text. Because all we do is we XOR it with this initialization vector value, the original initialization vector value, and we get the plain text. Does that make sense? I know it's complicated. Does that make sense to everybody? How do you know the IV? Just by finding the padding? The IV is not secret. The IV is not a secret. It's included in here. Usually the first or the last several bytes is the IV. I'm not sure which it is, but the IV is not a secret. It's not important for the initialization vector to be secret. It's just important for it to be only used once. So we know what the initialization vector is, and we're going to change it. We're going to change that initialization vector until it decrypts correctly. Then when it decrypts correctly, we can then figure out what the plain text actually is because it has correct padding. We figured out only 1 byte value from this initialization vector will produce correct padding. So we can do that with the last byte in the chain, then with the previous byte, then with the previous byte, and you can do that for every single byte of the ciphertext. For every single byte of the ciphertext, you can decrypt this value byte by byte until you get the decrypted ciphertext. And it will work with multiple blocks too. It will work with multiple blocks as well. So this is what is known as a padding oracle attack. We do need to know the block size. Typically, I will just try block sizes until one works. I just start with 8 and work my way up. 8 bytes, 16 bytes, 32 bytes, etc. And you just try one until it works. But does this make sense to everybody? I know it's going to take... You're probably going to have to read about it a little bit. You're probably going to have to read about it a little bit for it to really click. But trust me when I say that if we... the key here is the application throwing an error. The key here is this 500 internal server error. That's the key. If this did not throw a 500 internal server error, if we could not tell the difference between correct padding and incorrect padding, the key is we're sending these to the application, and the application is telling us whether the padding is correct or not. If we can tell if the padding is correct or not, the result is a padding oracle vulnerability. Because we can send values to the application to determine what correct padding is, and then byte by byte we can decrypt the value. We can, or bit by bit, we can decrypt, byte by byte, we can decrypt the actual value of the plain text. Could it also be time-based instead of output error? Yeah, it could be time-based. If there's any way in which we can tell the difference, then that is the result is a padding oracle attack. Would this work through reverse ICMP? Hard to do with no error feedback. Too big to flail. Too big to flail. I will show mercy on you today. I will show mercy on you. You will not be timed out. I am a merciful God. Okay? So before we continue, if you have questions, please ask. Please ask questions. Please ask questions. We're going to do a Stream Raiders battle. Matt and Opere, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu. All right, here we go. So, let's look back at the diagram, okay? Recall, the key happens at this. The key happens here at the decryption, okay? So this is being handled by the application for us. We know this value, and we know we want to figure out what the value is, what the intermediate value is before it's XORed with the initialization vector, okay? This value that's coming out of this decryption, what's happening is this ciphertext is being thrown into this decryption. We want to know what this value is between the decryption and and then before we get to the plain text, it is then XORed to get to the plain text. Okay? We want to know what value is here. What this value is that's being XORed with the initialization vector to get the plain text. Because if we know that value, we can get the plain text. And the way we figure that out is by fucking with the padding to find the bytes that equate to correct padding. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this byte at the end until it results in a plain text byte of 1. Of 0x1. Remember that the padding for 1 byte at the end, the padding will be 0x1. It'll be the hex 1. It'll be the hex value of 1. Then, once we know that value, we know this. We know the intermediate value for that byte. So then we just XOR it with the initialization vector and we get the plain text byte. Then we go to this byte. We go to the next byte over. And we change this byte until it results in what value? Until it results in a plain text value of what? What value? Let's just to make sure you guys understand this. Scrubterfuge and inside sources. Excellent. They're getting it. Okay? You're getting it. All right? 2. Hex 2. Okay? The hex value of 2. The correct padding for that position is 2. That's the correct padding. And only 1 byte out of that initialization vector, only 1 byte will result in a hex value of that. And if we know that... I keep clicking on the wrong fucking Mozilla. If we know that... Where are my notes? I'm taking... Okay. If we know that, we can figure out, again... God damn it. I need to find a more efficient way of cycling through these tabs. If we know this value. If we know this value, we can just XOR it with this, and we have the second byte of the plain text. Then we do 3, then 4, then 5, and we keep doing that until the entire block is decrypted. Does that make sense? Description okay gives padding value. XOR the padding value with the IV gives plain text. Not the padding value. We XOR the value that gave the padding of that value. We XOR the initialization vector here with the value, with the original value of the initialization vector before we started changing it. Then we get the padding value, then we can figure out what this is. I'm sorry. I keep misspeaking. We XOR the padding value and the initialization vector value. Then we have this intermediate value. And if we know this intermediate value, we can then XOR it with the original value of the initialization vector before we started to change it, and then we have the correct plain text. Does that make sense? I know it's complicated. I know it's complicated. Engage wrinkly brain. Engage wrinkly brain, okay? Is the first one, J Malone. The first one. It's going to be 3 bytes of 3s. It's not going to be 3, 2, 1 like you said. It's going to be the first option that you gave me. Is everyone getting it? Everyone following how the padding oracle attack works? This came here. This is one of the things I have to learn for my IT security exam tomorrow. This is a really well-known attack. This attack. It's very widespread. If you find encrypted key values, cookie values in web pages, it's very common to find this sort of attack. Because again, a lot of people, developers especially, do not understand how encryption works. They do not understand encryption. Okay? And if you don't understand encryption properly, you shouldn't be using it. You shouldn't roll your own crypto if you don't understand it properly. Can you show the attack for a small clear text when just doing 1 byte of the padding? Yeah, so how can I demonstrate that? I mean, it's hard. I'd have to write an entire script to demonstrate it, and I'm not sure it would demonstrate it any better than I am right now. So for 1 byte of, first of all, for 1 byte, when just doing 1 byte of the padding, so like you can't just encrypt 1 byte. Again, it happens in block sizes. Okay, it happens in block sizes. So the key thing to understand is that we're bit flipping until we get to bytes that equate to correct padding values. Then once we have the correct padding value, we know this intermediate value after the decryption, and we can XOR it with the initialization vector to get the actual plain text. That's what we're actually doing. We're figuring out we're doing that byte by byte by byte. And you can do this for multiple blocks as well, because we know the previous block ciphertext. So this becomes the initialization vector for this block. And this becomes the initialization vector for this block. And on and on and on. So we can do this for every byte and every block. OFB Mac encryption. I'm not familiar with that kind of encryption, so I'd have to research that myself. I'm not really in the right place to be able to explain that confidently. Sorry about that, man. Okay, so obviously, this kind of an attack is going to need to be scripted. Fortunately, there is a very handy dandy tool to do just that. Okay. So we can, let us go back here. Is this the one that gave 200 okay? Yeah, it did. Okay, so this is the value we want here. We can un-URL encode this. Okay. Okay. So there is Padbuster. I believe it's installed by default. It is. Okay, so TAC-H. So Padbuster is designed to perform just this exact kind of attack. It is on Kali by default. So you can see Gotham Digital Science. Oh, great. I wonder if he knows Batman. Cool. We want Padbuster. We want to put the URL, then the encrypted sample, and then the block size. Now, we don't know what the block size is, but we're gonna try 8, then we'll try 16, then we'll try 32. And we'll see which one works. Brute force against the first block. We don't want to do that. So, and you can also encrypt using this same attack. You don't just decrypt. You can also encrypt using this exact same attack. Using this exact same attack, you can also encrypt ciphertext that you want encrypted. That tool is a decade old. Yeah, it's written in Perl, my man. It's written in Perl. Who writes in Perl anymore? Okay, so we're going to have to do Padbuster, URL, encrypted sample, block size, and then options. So we want to let's just take this, and let's write out our command in Notepad here. And what it's going to do is it's going to perform this padding oracle attack for us. So the URL, very simply, will be this. Paste that in. Oh. There we go. Now we want the encrypted sample. So could it, will it take the base 64 encoded version? It's going to send a bunch of requests, so we might want to re-base 64 encode it. Let's just leave it there. This results in a correct sample, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so let's take this. This is an encrypted sample. Block size we'll just assume is going to be 8, and if that doesn't work, we'll try 16. And then 32. 8. And then I think we have to include cookies, do we not? Attack cookies, HTTP cookies. Yeah, we have to include the cookie. So we need this. Notepad. Attack cookies. And then I know magic, all this crap. And we could just try that and see if that works for us. Does it have an option to specify encoding, though? Oh, okay, so you have to specify base 64. So we will have to specify encoding 0. Because it is base 64 encoded. Hopefully it can figure out its URL encoded. I do recall this tool is somewhat smart. Hopefully that'll work. I don't think there's any there's no HTTP basic authentication, so there's nothing to worry about there. Okay. Let us take this command. Let's paste it in and see if that works for us. All right. No error string was provided starting response analysis. It should be able to figure out based on the 500 internal server error. Attack encoding 4. What was encoding 4? Encoding 1 was base 64. Oh, web safe base 64. No, it was regular base 64 because it had a slash in it. This was regular base 64. Remember, it has a slash in it. Web safe base 64 would have the slashes and the plus signs removed. Okay, so let's see if this does, if this properly decrypts for us. It is going to take a minute. Remember what it's doing. It's sending a whole bunch of requests to the web application, and it's doing little bit flips to see if to see what value ends up resulting in correct padding. You had an L instead of a K? No, this is the correct value. I changed L to K, I think. Oh, you're right. I think you're right. I changed it to K, and then... Okay, so let me just do this again with the correct cookie, just in case. I don't think it's going to matter, because it decrypted correctly in either way. But we can do this anyways. Apologies. I forgot I changed it once, and it didn't nothing different happened. Probably because, again, it's base 64. So then we have to change that P to a K, or that L to a K. Like that. Do it like that. Now it's doing, the first thing it's doing is it's sending a whole bunch of mangled responses to the application and trying to determine how to tell the difference between correct padding and incorrect padding. You do not put the full cookie info. You have to put the full cookie info so it knows how to send the request. Recall that it needs to know to include this cookie header with I know magic equals. It needs to know how to do that. So we're using the cookie that gave us a 500. No, we're using the regular cookie, the normal cookie, like the one before we started to change it. And it's going to do some bit flipping for us and figure out what cookie, what values result in incorrect padding. Shouldn't you get an error if you're not using the right padding? Exactly. That's the whole point. We'll get a 500 internal server error. This one. So it's recommending I go with this one. That's the one we're going to do. Okay, selection 2. We might have wanted to include the PHP session ID as well. But it's actually probably fine. It's probably fine as long as we're getting, all we need is this 500 internal server error. That's all we care about. We don't care about it getting a 200 OK. We just care about being able to tell the difference between this and this, which we can. So let's see if we have the block size correct. If it decrypts properly, we'll get we have the block size correct. If we don't have oh, it looks like it did work. It looks like it did work. It is decrypting the value. All right, so we're chilling out. Does anyone have any questions about what we're actually doing? Does anyone have any questions? Because I know it's confusing. Believe me, I know it is confusing. So recall, so what it's doing here is it took 175 options. It's flipping the bits. Remember, there are 256 possible values for a byte. There's 256 possible values for a byte. And only one byte out of 256 will result in correct padding for every single one. So for this one, it had to send 175 bytes to find one that resulted in correct padding. For this one, it had to send 133. This time, it had to send 106. So it's going to take a little while for it to properly decrypt. We're flipping the initialization vector. The initialization vector is included in this ciphertext. It's in this ciphertext. I don't know if it's at the beginning or the end. I think it's usually at the beginning. The initialization vector is usually in the beginning. We're flipping the bit in the initialization vector. We're not flipping the bit in the ciphertext itself. The ciphertext itself needs to be fed into the decryption before, but then the initialization vector is used to XOR with it. That's what we're flipping. I don't know where the initialization vector actually is in this encrypted ciphertext. I'm assuming it's at the beginning. It's usually at the beginning. It's appended to the beginning of the ciphertext. Remember, the initialization vector does not need to be a secret. You need it to decrypt the value. So it's usually stored with the ciphertext. Usually the ciphertext is stored with the initialization vector so that when you can decrypt it, because you need the same initialization vector to decrypt it. The danger of initialization vectors comes in when they're not properly random. When they're not properly random, then you can reverse it back into the clear text without the key. Real RBX, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Fatagan to you, my friend. Have I tried that? I have not tried that website. What is this? What is this? Is this some kind of CTF site? Yeah, this is some kind of CTF site. I've never played 0539.net. Never played it. Is this referring to AES ECB? No, this is CBC. ECB doesn't use an initialization vector. P. Bruno Stir, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Fatagan to you. So we got the 500 error to know we can use this. What happens if we couldn't use this? Just a 200. Ideally, the way you would fix this, if you're a web application developer, if I found this in a web application that I was testing, I would tell the developer that they need to kill that error message. They need to kill that 500 internal server error. Just have the application return a 200 OK for everything. Okay, so it's decrypted the first block. As you can see, it's decrypted the first block here. And the first block is, it looks like it's JSON data. So the blocks, remember, they're 8 bytes. The block size is 8 bytes. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've decrypted the first block. So now we're going to wait and decrypt the second block. Technique, thank you so much for the 2-month Prime resubscription. Welcome back to the Alhaz Red Team, my friend. Tell the developer they need to kill themselves. No, we're not going to tell the developer we need to kill themselves. We tell them that the application needs to return the same value even if the decryption fails. Even if the decryption fails, the application needs to not indicate that the decryption failed or not. It needs to just return a 200 OK for everything and just like, maybe just not show the data or whatever. There needs to be no discernible difference between good padding and bad padding. That's the core of the weakness. The core of the weakness here is not the encryption scheme itself. The core of the weakness is this web application returning error messages for a bad decryption. It needs to not do that. This is a fairly common attack with encrypted cookies. With encrypted cookies like this is fairly common. Another way you would protect against this is you would put a signature at the end of this cookie. You would use something like a JWT. JWTs, Java Web Tokens, are encrypted. But the JWTs, JSON Web Tokens, not Java Web Tokens. JSON Web Tokens are encrypted, but JSON Web Tokens have a signature at the end. The signature indicates that the signature is a signature of the ciphertext and the initialization vector, so that when you send it to the application, you know it hasn't been tampered with. If the signature can verify if the ciphertext has been tampered with or not. That's another way you could fix this. You sign the ciphertext and include the signature at the end. I learned more from JWTs, JSON Web Tokens. If you say JWT tokens, it ends up being JSON Web Token tokens. Chat is low spice tonight. It is. It is. Low spice, but that's okay. That's okay. We can't always have Omega Spice chat. The Ghost Pepper chat. You know. Again, this is the nature of this attack causes it to take a while. The nature of this attack just causes it to take a while. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. I had some ghost pepper the other day. My eyes were watering. I would never try a ghost pepper. I don't like spicy food, honestly. So what's the goal when we decrypt base 64? Is it changing the value of a key? We're not changing the value of the key. We're trying to reverse the the ciphertext back into plain text without the key. We're trying to reverse this encryption back into its plain text. So the idea is, remember, we've decrypted the first 8 bytes. We've decrypted the first 8 bytes here. So we want to reverse the rest of this key. Man, this is going to take fucking forever, I think. Block 2 of 6. This is going to take fucking forever. So we need something to do. We need something to do. What can we be doing during this time? We could just really powerhouse Stream Raiders. That's what we'll do for right now. We'll do a Stream Raiders battle. Is this your Linux Rice setup? This is my Kali setup. This is just Kali Linux. I'm still in pain meds from last week. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you're still in pain. Would more CPU power make this go quicker? No, this is a server response time thing. It's sending a request. It's essentially a brute force attack with the server itself. So we're sending a bunch of requests. What's next after your decryption? Then we have to change the plain text. We do see that the next, this is the, well, let's go back to the, It has finished the next block, and we do see that my username is in this encrypted block right here. This is the next 8 bytes. After this, then we have to do the whole thing over again, except this time telling Padbuster to re-encrypt. We're going to tell Padbuster to re-encrypt with the name of the admin. Because you can encrypt using this attack as well. Would this not be picked up by a firewall or some other form of security then? Yeah, potentially. Potentially, yes. Use FUF instead of Padbuster. Oh, God. I couldn't just use FUF. I would need to script it out. I would need to have a Python script or something that would do it. So decrypting your own cookie does what for you? It allows me, it tells me the structure of the cookie so that I can craft my own cookie that says I'm an admin or says I am the username admin or something like that. And then allows me to send that cookie to the application, which lets me log in as admin without the admin's password. Does that make sense? So we can actually start. Can I have a challenge running and a HacktheBox machine running at the same time? Because maybe we can start lazy while we're just standing here. Machines, all. And there's unfortunately, like I said, guys, there's no way to get around this. It just takes a while to decrypt the cookie. It's just going to take some time. ECB does not use IB. It does not. It does not. We went over this. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. I had it on Wikipedia. Here we go. Here we go. So here's encryption in ECB mode. Notice there is no initialization vector. There's no XOR. There's no initialization vector. Nothing. Nothing. There's just, you take the plain text block, you run it through the encryption. Oh, fuck. God damn it. Sorry. Yeah, I know, Mr. Streamer. Okay, yeah, okay, here you go. Here you go. This is ECB mode, okay? You take the plain text, you run it through the encryption, you get the ciphertext. Okay? There's no initialization vector. There's no XORing and stuff. Okay? None of that. CBC, this one, was invented as a way of overcoming the limitations of ECB. This is like a more advanced version. This uses the initialization vector, and this is for the initialization vector is only used for the first block. It's only used to start the decryption. That's why it's called the initialization vector. Or the nonce, N-O-N-C-E. If you hear a nonce referred to, same thing, initialization vector. For every other block other than the first one, the initialization vector used is the ciphertext of the previous block. Does that make sense? I know, Shadow Warrior. I know. Look, this is cryptography. This is the Elder magic. This is the Eldritch. These are the Eldritch mysteries, okay? I know cryptography is confusing. It's partially by design, you know? So if there is an IV, assume it's CVC. No, there's IVs for other modes as well. But other modes often use IVs. For example, if you were to use, I don't know, elliptic curve cryptography, which is entirely different from this. Elliptic curve cryptography is entirely different, but it also uses a nonce. It also uses an initialization vector. I'm absolutely shit at cryptography, which is why I want to learn more about it. That's excellent, my man. Excellent. That's why we're all here, okay? Do we shy away from the Eldritch magics? Are we afraid, chat, of the black to go into the darkness of what we don't understand, of the madness of the Eldritch mysteries and the shrieking immemorial lunacy? Are we afraid of these things, chat? Are we afraid that our brains are going to be too smooth to understand them? No, we are not. We have no fear. We face the black with ferocity, okay? We're going in. We go in hot my friends. We go in hot. When the light starts the black tunnel, then you start to be afraid. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, 4 out of 6. So we do see that there is a role attribute inside of this JSON. So maybe that's probably like role admin or something. We're moving right along. Jumping into depth creates wrinkles. Exactly. We're making our brains more wrinkly right now. We make deep, intimate eye contact with the void. We do. We do. We gaze deeply into their eyes until it becomes uncomfortable. Okay? That's what we do. All right. So, let's open it last time on stream, we talked about interview questions, common interview questions for pen testing interviews. Does anyone else have any more questions regarding that? We can talk more regarding that while we're just waiting for this to fucking decrypt. Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Yeah, I know. I recognized that instantly as soon as the first time I saw that movie. I was like, Dumbledore's calm during that scene. How do I get over feeling lost once I start a box? You just enumerate, my man. And as you do more boxes, and Hack the Box especially, as you do more boxes, you get more of a feel for what you're supposed to do, even if you're not quite sure what that's supposed to be. Like, for example, if there's only a web server open, if there's just port 22 and then a web server, chances are good it's some kind of web-based attack that you're supposed to do to gain a shell, because SSH is rarely vulnerable. So, then you look at the web application, you see what functionality is available on the web application, and you just you look for anything that looks out of place, that looks out of the ordinary. You get used to it. It's just repetition. You just keep working. Keep doing it. Card from the Fit Deck redeemed. I'll do one just a second. How often do I stream? I stream 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. It's on my schedule. If you look at my channel schedule, it's on there. And if you don't find anything on the website, then do vhost. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Virtual host. Oftentimes, if you need to use vhost routing, it'll indicate that there's a domain or something. Like if there's a SSL port open, like if 4443 is open for a web server, a lot of times the SSL certificate will have a domain in it. How'd Script Kitty go yesterday? It went well. It took us, I think, somewhere between 1 and 2 hours to root it. But we got there. We had some tenacious apes in there. We all put our heads together. And we made it through. Digimon, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Fatagan. All right. So, role user. Is there really another block after this? What, there's going to be... I almost just want to stop it and try and extrapolate what the key is. Or extrapolate what the cookie is. Just to make this go faster. Like we have this. So the cookie is going to be like this. Okay, we're just gonna connect these. Man, I wish my username was A. This would be going a lot quicker if my username was A. Okay, so this is what the cookie looks like so far. It says there's another block, so I'm wondering if there's like another attribute we need here. Otherwise, I'd just stop it here, honestly. But I don't want to get all the way through trying to re-encrypt. We have to re-encrypt after this. And I don't want to get all the way through that and find out I was incorrect on the cookie structure. So we're just going to let it decrypt. What is this music? Just royalty-free lo-fi beats off of YouTube. If I get a reverse shell from a web server but can't from that shell connect outbound from my IP, how would I solve that? Connect outbound to my IP. How would I solve that so I can reach me either through routing or port forwarding? Port forwarding is what you would probably use. You would use an intermediate box, a jump box that can reach your machine, and you would just set up some kind of port forwarding setup, either SSH or Chisel or any number of different or P-Link or whatever any number of other port forwarding solutions, and you would just tell that machine, hey, forward every request that comes into this TCP port, send it to this other machine at this other port. That's what you would do. So, but if I can't hit my box, then it's out of the question. Like the bot, there needs to be an intermediate box that can forward your requests for you. That box needs to be able to hit your box. Yes. That's how that would work. All right, Stream Raiders battle again. If there's a server-side filter that only allows JPEGs, can you put a PHP reverse shell with JPEG magic bytes to bypass the filter? Would that work? Yes, potentially. Depends on the web server. Some web servers will control for that. Sometimes you'll have to do other things to bypass it, like the MIME type, for instance. You might have to manipulate the MIME type in the request to get it up. Sometimes some web servers will, even on Linux, will use the file extension to determine what kind of file it is. So sometimes the file extension is going to matter, even on Linux. It all depends on the web server, but yeah, that is a potential attack that you can do. That is something you should look for, ADubs 808. Apes together strong indeed. Could you determine the intermediate value for first block and try to brute force the key offline? Key space too large? No, because you can't go through the encryption like that. Like, in order to brute force the key would take you understanding, would take manipulating this to get the key back. Like you cannot, this encryption doesn't work like XOR. This encryption does not work like XOR. You can't XOR this. You can't use this value, this intermediate value, and XOR it with the ciphertext to get the key or anything like that. This is a much more complex method of scrambling the bytes in a reversible way. So you could not derive the key this way. It's not possible to derive the key this way. Is this similar to the Microsoft CBC all zeros initialization vector? Is initialization vectors not all zeros? Exactly too big to flail. In fact, every single time where I said that, hey, I've covered this XOR and CBC stuff before, I was referring to the time I covered it while we were doing the zero logon attack. This is all of this, it's a very similar vulnerability. That one arose because we could predict what the initialization vector was going to be. And when you can predict the initialization vector, bad things happen, and you end up being able to bypass the decryption or the encryption at all. The decryption in general. So zero logon was sort of similar to this, kind of. I tried that on the box and it won't upload, but it would call back. It would upload, but it would not call back. Well, you have to load the shell as well. You have to get the PHP to execute. Usually that's by browsing to your shell in the browser. Then the browser would execute it, and it would send a reverse shell back to you. So identify the vulnerability solely through the 500 server error? Yes. That's the core of the vulnerability, is the 500 internal server error. All right, looks like we're almost done here. Just about done. It looks like we have another plain text here. Is there just spaces at the end of this? Is there just a fuckload of spaces? I always run it when I see a self-made cookie because programmers don't know shit about encryption. Yeah. If you're a developer, highly recommend you do not roll your own crypto. Highly recommend you do not create your own cryptographic scheme in your stuff, because this kind of stuff tends to happen. So it looks like there's a fuckload of zeros at the end for some fucking reason. So this is the actual cookie. So what we want to do here is send the same thing, and we want to include TAC plain text. Now we want to re-encrypt with, I guess we can still use my username. We can just roll admin. Like that. Okay. So now it's going to re-encrypt it. So now, congratulations, we finished decrypting it. Now we have to re-encrypt it with this cookie value. Notice all we've done is change the role to admin, and this likely will give us access to the admin control panel like the challenge indicates we need to do. I really need to start doing pen tester labs. I suck at web. Pen tester lab is great for web application pen testing. They really go in depth with web app pen testing. Because it has the role and the username, you can't bit flip it. Exactly. So the role, I think, is what we really need. We were for the bit flip. We were talking about lazy. Apparently, lazy has a differently working, has a cookie that works differently. So you might be able to bit flip that one. Okay, so we're gonna re-encrypt this. Low-key feel like the NSA already has ways to break down all our doors. I mean, they had Eternal Blue for God knows how long before it was leaked, so. Bitflip would work here too if it was just the username and the cookie, not the role. Yeah, it would. The role is the key. It's tough to you can't bitflip that. If the username, if we wanted to impersonate the username admin, then we could make a account called Beadmin, BDMIN, something that differed from admin by 1 byte only, and then you just bitflip it until you end up with a value of admin. Alrighty. Well, again, this is kind of laborious. I thought it might be a little bit quicker than this, but this is always just something that takes a little bit of time. Bobhead, thank you so much for the 600 tig old biddies. Thanks for showing this. Listen to the Apes Needs. Hey, I always listen to my Apes Needs. Hey, so guys, if you have anything you want me to cover on stream, anything in particular you'd like me to cover, please reach out to me on Discord, reach out to me on Twitch, reach out to me however you'd like. I respond to all DMs. And just tell me what you would like to see, and I've taken recommendations more than once now. So this entire day is this entire discussion of the padding oracle attack is happening just because one of you guys recommended it. Let's at least play the confession gay clip until it's done. There was no confession. This is fake news. Digimon, thank you for the follow. 0x Cap, thank you for the follow as well. Cthulhu Fatagan. All right, Bobhead, I didn't want to dox you, man. I didn't want to say it was you, but yeah, Bobhead is the one who requested that we cover the padding oracle attack today. Tell me what you want to see, but won't get that OnlyFans started. Hey, look. The OnlyFans is not happening, okay? I'm not a Twitch thought. I know you guys want me to be a Twitch thought, but I'm not going to be a Twitch thought. Elementary VM on the site I linked. Was that the, this guy? The 539.net? I don't know anything about this site. I'm going to have to look at it. offline. But yeah, we might do some of this. I could see us doing some of this. Yeah, let me take a look at it offline. And I'll determine how we want to do it. All right, where are we at with our stream raiders? I'll give it a few more minutes. Closest thing to a Twitch thought in this. That was actually add permitted term Twitch thought. There you go. So now you can say Twitch thought in chat. Enjoy that. Alright, we'll do another Stream Raiders battle. We're moving fast on Stream Raiders. The blood spilled here is on your hands. It is. I messed up. I'm just trying to move fast, guys. There's not much to do while the padding oracle attack is going. There's not much to do. Alright, we activated lazy. Maybe we can head on over to lazy. Is lazy up? 10, 10, 10, 18. We can start enumerating that at least. It is. So we can start enumerating lazy here. 10, 10, 10, what was it? 10, 10, 10, 18. Ten, 10, 10, 18. Okay, let's see what ports are open on lazy. Well, so what's your limiting factor for speed when doing this kind of decrypt? It's the response time of the server. Like, because again, we're sending requests to the server. Like the reason it's taking so long is because the server has to. We're changing a byte. We're changing a value for a byte, and then we're sending another request to the server to see if it decrypts properly. And if it doesn't, we just have to change the byte again, send another one, and it can take anywhere up to 256 requests for that to work, for us to get a response back that indicates the byte is correct. Oh, Hazred fights something besides our souls to entertain you. We paid the butcher's bill. You're still in I Know Magic? I know I am, but I can apparently be in both. Like, this is lazy. This is lazy. 10, 10, 10, 18 is lazy. And I Know Magic, like, this is still working in the background. So we can have that going in the background. So we do see OpenSSH. Let's see what version of Ubuntu this is. Let's see. Ubuntu Launchpad. Fallout Ghost, thank you for the follow, my friend. Cthulhu for talking to you. This is Ubuntu Trusty, it seems. Ubuntu Trusty. So it's a bit of an older version. We do see that port 80 is open. So let's check this out. 10, 10, 10, 18. Let's add this to our burp scope. Okay. All right. So this is already looking quite similar to the one we already just did with a login and a register. Let's view the page source. Nothing of terrible interest in here. So we could start to go buster this. Let's try to log in. Let's just try some simple stuff. Admin. Nope. Admin. Password. So again, this is basically going to be the same. It looks like this is basically the same as before. This time we're going to use the username of A. For no particular reason. We're just going to use the username A this time. And just pretend it's my full username. Do bit flipping? Okay, yeah, we could do that. We could do that. Let's do a username of Beedman. So, Again, it doesn't need to be beadmin. It could be seedmin. It could be ddmin. The point is that it's admin with a slightly swapped, it's 1 byte off of being admin. So we could just make it beadmin. Beadmin. There we go. All right, we're logged in as beadmin. Okay, we are beadmin. Loyal employee beadmin. So let's take a look at these requests. Let's look at the response. Did not set a cookie or anything. Oh, that was for the register. Okay, here's the set cookie right here. So this is, again, looking very similar to what we just saw, chat. This is looking very similar. So we take this. We can just kill this. So, why is it oh, that's the response. Whoops. Send a repeater. So here we have the cookie. Let's just lop off the end of this. Set. Looky there. Invalid padding. So this one is doing us the courtesy of just flat out telling us whether the padding is right or not. So the same attack would certainly work here. The same exact attack. Let's remove this from repeater. And let's send this... Man, I have hiccups now. Why on stream? Why on stream do I get the hiccups? You are currently logged in as beadman. We are loyal employee beadman. God damn it. So this looks like it's base 64 again. So we can take this. So, again, we get gibberish. So, the same attack, again, just based on this invalid padding, the same attack would work. So, one thing you could try here. So, we could try to do the bit flipping attack, since we already know that a padding oracle will work on this. I don't know if this is going to work, actually. I don't know if intruder will work for our purposes here, because intruder is throttled if you don't have, god damn it. If you don't have Burp Pro, intruder gets throttled. That's correct. Sniper is fine. Bit flipper. God damn it. I think we're going to have to base 64 encode it, don't we? Or base 64 decode it? Literal value and go? Like that? So we don't have to do anything with the base 64. We don't have to do anything with the base 64. We can try it. Yep, I know. It's going to be throttled. Fuck. Finished. Okay, sniper wasn't the right payload type. Okay. Which one do we want to try? Maybe it's battering ram? I cannot remember exactly. Which attack type is it? Sniper's right? Really? It only did one. It only sent one thing. Okay, so while we're sitting here, let's just run Pad Buster while we're sitting here trying to figure out this bit flipping. God damn. The fucking hiccups, dude. So we'll include the cookies. Ugh, God damn it. And the encrypted sample will be this. And now we have to put the page. So it's just index.php. It's 10, 10, 10, 18, isn't it? Yep. God damn it. Encoding equals 0. And we can just start that going. See how the other one looks. So it's still going. That one's still going. Thanks for the knowledge, got a jet. And no problem, TMH Pwn. Glad you learned. The key to stop hiccups is just to stop hiccuping. God, I wish I could. Hydrate, you dry noodle. I am hydrating. Look, a whole Nalgene bottle. Okay, so it indicates that 2 is the one we want to choose here. We're assuming a block size of 8 again, which seems to be correct based on the fact that 1 byte returned a 1 value. Or returned a correct padding value. God damn. Alright, there that goes. Now we need to see if we can figure out this. This may not ever work in any kind of reasonable time. Alright, what settings do I need here for a bit flipping attack? I've never actually tried this on Burp Intruder. God damn it. Literal value, and then go. Well, there it goes. Oh. So for these ones, we got a 203. That doesn't seem to be correct. 203 is a... So there are 256 possible values it can be. Can I see the response? Invalid padding. Okay, so we're getting invalid padding responses. Badriano, thank you. 326. Thank you for the follow. Cthulhu for talking to you. Lilielict, thank you for the follow as well. Cthulhu for talking. Oh, we're getting something here. What's this? This prompts us to log in and create a user. What is the 191? We're logged in as Beedman. So 1351 looks different. Nope, that doesn't look different. We're looking for one that, like, is different than the others. That has a different length, for instance. User not found in the larger one? Okay. Well, yeah, sort by... We could sort by length. That's fine. So these are all invalid padding. Can we start with the... I'm assuming that the one... Why is it only doing 69 requests? I feel like it should be more than that, but we'll see. I don't know if I'm doing this right, by the way, guys. I feel like I have to base 64 decode it. Would it be easier to grep for user log app? The length will be different. If we get like the admin portal, the length will be different. Oh, okay, we're finally done over here. We're finally done over here. So we have an encrypted value here. Okay, we can take that. We can turn intercept on. Refresh the page. Does this have to be a semicolon, I think? Oh my god, dude. I'm going to be hiccuping forever. This is just my life now. And there we go. There's the flag. So you see we are logged in as admin here. It's not I Know Magic. It sure looks like it is to me. Joke's on you, Bobhead. Joke is on you. Fucking Bobhead. God damn it. I swear to God. There we go. Music's back. Alrighty. So, does that make sense to everybody? Padbuster worked. We were able to re-encrypt. We have the flag here. If you really want to, you can copy this out and put it in Hack the Box, but I do recommend you work through that challenge. Even though it's retired, you won't get any points for it. You'll still learn by working your way through it. So let's look at this again. Where's the intruder? So it looks like our bit flip attack did not work. It's only sending 100 requests. Oh no, it's still going. It's still going. This would be a lot quicker if we were on Burp Pro. The thing is, I'm not on Burp Pro. Burp Pro has intruder is throttled in Burp Pro, or in Burp Community. Now do it manually. I'm not going to do it manually if there's a perfectly good tool to use it. I understand the attack. I know how the attack works. Padbuster works just fine. That was a solid challenge. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Other than the fact that it took fucking forever. So you got the padding and decrypted the cookie. Made your own cookie for admin. Re-encrypted it. Threw it in our... No, we didn't get the padding. We brute forced individual bytes until we found bytes that had correct padding. Then we could determine the intermediate value and decrypt and then determine the correct plaintext with a XOR. That was what we did. And then we did the same thing and re-encrypt. We did the same thing in reverse to re-encrypt it. Threw it in our web request and it threw us into the admin account. Yes, we forged the correct admin cookie. We forged a cookie for admin and threw it in there. And it logged us in as admin. Mine did. No, it's not. It's not that it didn't work. It's still going. The thing is, it just takes forever. It just takes a long time because I'm not on Burp Pro. Not here, anyway. Burp Pro would kill this in 1 minute. Exactly. Burp Pro would be much quicker. Again, Burp Community Edition's Intruder is throttled. Complicated, but makes sense. Hey, crypto is always complicated, my man. MB Crump with the raid. Ape defenses activate. Apes defend. Defend. Welcome in, MB Crump. MB Crump, thank you so much for the raid, my friend. Welcome in to all of MB Crump's raiders. We are doing padding oracle and bit flipping attacks, cryptography-based attacks on HacktheBox's I Know Magic and HacktheBox's Lazy. In fact, I'll go ahead and change the challenge here. We just finished I Know Magic. So we can change the challenge here. HacktheBox Lazy. Lazy. Put it in the center there. There we go. HacktheBox Lazy. Oh my goodness, so many follows. Classic Tech, Fohammer 419, Lol1 R6S, and Dark Star Ohio. Thank you all for the follow, Cthulhu Fatagan. If you're here to learn the black magics of offensive cybersecurity, the dark eldritch arts of hacking. Well, welcome into everybody, and we're also playing Stream Raiders while we wait for these brute force attacks to work. We do see right here that user equals Beadman. The decrypted value of the cookie is user equals Beadman. So we just want to bit flip that to be user equals admin. We might want to... Do we have to find the specific byte where that's happening? We might have to find the specific byte that's been flipped. Or that needs to be flipped. Also, yes, I have the hiccups. I do have the hiccups. Hiccups are just a thing. We're just dealing with it today. We're dealing with it today. So I have never done a bit flipping attack. Bob had not like this anyways. Not with Intruder. Bobhead, are you still in chat, Bobhead? Hey, MB Crump, I'm doing great. How was your stream, my friend? How was your stream? I think there's a free burp extension for this also. So, Bobhead, did you have to find the exact byte in here that needs to be flipped? Because we decrypted it to user equals Beadman. This is the flip bit that needs to be flipped. You said you did this. You didn't have to find the exact byte and it worked? I don't know how Intruder is doing this, man. It seems like it's just flipping the first byte. If it just flips the first byte, we're never going to get there. If it just... We need it to flip this until we get user equals admin. Go to positions. Okay, let's go to positions. Bitflip allows for bitflip checks out. Let's take a look. Payloads. Okay. Like, I mean, it could be it's flipping every single byte. I think what it's actually going to do is it's going to go byte by byte. I don't think, if that's the case, we're never going to get there. It's just going to take too long. So, again, the problem is that I don't have Burp Pro. So I think what's happening here is it's going to flip every bit, in this entire string. It's just gonna go bit by bit, this entire string, and it's gonna flip every bit. Which will work for Burp Pro because for Burp Pro it would work. The problem is for Burp Community, Burp Pro is the intruder function is throttled, so this is taking forever. I don't think it would take it. It would. I think eventually it's gonna start flipping the second byte as well, but it hasn't even gotten through the first byte yet. So I don't think I'm going to be able, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able, without Burp Pro, I don't think I'm going to be able to make this finish in a reasonable amount of time. But hopefully everyone can see how this attack works, okay? So notice that we've created a cookie that's only 1 byte off of user equals admin. We want a cookie that says user equals admin in it, okay? We want this cookie. We want user equals admin. So we just go through and we just flip bits, and we modify these bytes until we get one that, when decrypted, says user equals admin. And we don't know which byte of encrypted ciphertext that's going to be. So we have to just brute force it until we find it. That's what we're doing here. I believe what it's doing is it's going to do every byte in sequence. But I think I'm going to need Burp Pro to get it to go faster. I would just need to get it to go faster. Burp Pro would be a lot quicker. So far, we're only on like 157 requests here. We're just never going to get there. It's just going to take too long. So fortunately, we have re-encrypted it. So we want to do... we can do this with Padbuster. Plaintext equals... plaintext is user equals admin. So we can have Padbuster do this for us with another Oracle padding Oracle attack. Stream Raiders is going to be epic. Let's do Stream Raiders while padding Oracle is rowing. For you who are new here, I am a professional penetration tester, red teamer. I make money LARPing as a criminal. We have to do that. Hit 2. I make money LARPing as a criminal for companies so that I can review their so that I can fix their security vulnerabilities. Or tell them how to fix their security vulnerabilities. And I am here teaching you how to leverage the dark arts for your own fun and profit as well. So if you want to learn how to hack, you're in the right place. You are in the right fucking place. Promise it's not a fish, says the professional hacker. Look, if I wanted to fish you, I could have done it 1,000 ways already. You guys would be fucked. You guys would just be screwed. Like you just like some time ago, I sent you guys you guys asked me to make you a write-up for that challenge that we did that one day, that interview challenge that we did. I did a write-up for it. You may recall. And I just sent you guys a .doc. I sent you guys a fucking document, and you guys just opened it. You fucking apes just opened it and didn't think there'd be a macro in there. There wasn't one, but the point is you didn't think about it. So if I wanted to fish you, I could have done it already. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I could have done it. Yeah, get aped. Get aped. All right, so you see that the padding Oracle is working. Those of you who are new here, who just got in from the raid, this is a padding Oracle attack. What we are doing is we are, if you can go back and watch the VOD, you'll see my full explanation of how the attack works. Essentially, we are brute forcing the server until we end up with the server returns errors that we shouldn't be able to see. Errors when the crypto fails. So we can change the bytes until it decrypts properly, and we can use the properties of the cryptography to figure out the plain text from that without needing the ciphertext key. So that's what we're doing here. Our Padbuster program is figuring out the exact well, we already did that before. Now we are re-encrypting. We are encrypting a new cookie that says user equals admin, so that we will be able to log in as admin here. And we also figured out there's another way to do it using this bit flip attack that we're also doing at the same time. But unfortunately, I don't have Burp Pro on this version of Kali. So this intruder takes a very long time. Intruder is throttled on Burp Community on the free version of Burp. If I was on Burp Pro, it's likely be done already. It would likely be done. Bobhead has gifted a new cult initiate. OG Shabba Ranks. Welcome to the Alhaz Red Team, my friend. Welcome in. Just got here and I like this guy already. Hey, man. If you like to hack, if you are a doer of the, if you are an aspiring practitioner of the dark arts, you're in the right place, man. You're in the right place. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Make sure that you follow me on Twitter. Going into the Discord. We got tons of ape cultists in the Discord. Nice little community brewing already. What's the best non-illegal, non-harmful way to try these methods out? Hack the box and try hack me, my man. There are plenty of sites you can go to online to practice your hacking skills legally, and to encounter, also acquire new skills, encounter new challenges, and make yourself smarter. Add new wrinkles to your brain to make yourself that much smarter. Okay? OG Shabba Ranks, I'm super glad to hear about that, my man. Super glad to hear about that. We're always glad to have new cultists up in here. Durburger and Burnaz V, thank you for the follow, both of you. Cthulhu Fatagan. And we're just, again, we're just sitting here waiting for this pad. Once this encrypts, it shouldn't take that much longer. How many bytes are we dealing with here? Block size is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like 8 and then 2 more bytes in the next block. So 10 bytes it needs to encrypt. We are already 7 bytes in. So only 3 more bytes, and then we will have our encrypted ciphertext. I'm completely new to this, only know software dev, but nothing about pen testing security. That's great, my man. That's fantastic. I try to be as approachable to beginners as possible, okay? So I try to be... I understand that security is an esoteric topic, and offensive cybersecurity is even more esoteric. So this is the eldritch magics, okay? The dark arts. And we're all here learning. I'm here learning too. I'm learning with chat. Chat's learning. We're all learning. We are all loyal students of the elder gods here, okay? We are calling upon the old ones to perform these vile tainted sorceries, okay? So, but honestly, if you're a software dev, you know more than a lot of the other apes in here. So, there you go. I very much appreciate what you're doing. Great stream. Thank you so much, man. I'm really glad you like it. I hope you turn up again. I really like having I love having new apes in chat. Forecast Dizzy Fox, thank you for the follow. EcoFix as well, thank you for the follow. And Burnaz V, if I didn't say you, thank you for the follow as well. Cthulhu Fatagan. Someone shut off the power during the Super Bowl? Really? When did that happen? I don't remember that. The box won't spawn for me? That's weird. That's strange. So yeah, if you want to practice, I do highly recommend try hack me. If you're brand new to this stuff, you're brand new to security, don't know anything about this stuff, look, go to tryhackme.com, make an account, and when you make an account, it's free. Don't worry, it's free. When you make an account, it's going to ask you, what do you know? Like, what's your skill level? And you can just say you're completely new. You can just say you're new. And it will tailor your learning experience to you being new. It'll start you from the bare essentials. Angry Chair has raided me. My goodness, Angry Chair, welcome in. We have two raids this stream already. Thank you so much, Angry Chair. How was your stream, my friend? How was your stream? Welcome in, Info Root Christy. Welcome. Try hack me and use the VPN provided for you can access the boxes. Yeah, you need to do that and hack the box as well. But Try Hack Me has a attack box, a browser-based attack box that you can use as well. You can just it's limited. How much you can use it is limited unless you get the paid subscription. If you get the paid subscription, you can use it all you'd like. I personally prefer to use a VM that I connect to through a VPN. And I connect through a VPN. So in order to check for a padding oracle vulnerability, you must first authenticate successfully and then mess with the session cookie and look for invalid padding error from the server. Not necessarily an invalid padding error. This one was a little bit more obvious than most of them, okay? This one says, like, literally invalid padding, I think. If we look at one of the responses here. Yeah, this one literally says invalid padding. Most of the time, you're going to see like what we did with image magic. Or not image magic, I know magic. We go to repeater. You're going to see... so this one was for the other challenge. For this one, you're going to see if we change, like, if we just lop off the end of this encryption and we send the request, we see a 500 internal server error. So the server is going to return some kind of error. It doesn't need to say invalid padding or anything like that. It just needs to decrypt incorrectly. And what that usually means is that the padding is wrong. What that always means is the padding is wrong, ultimately. So if the server returns, you just need to be able to distinguish when you've sent the server an encrypted sample with bad padding versus a good padding sample. And if you can do that, a padding oracle attack is possible. That's the core of the attack. Who just followed? GN Scardua, thank you for the follow. SS and Nina Blast, thank you as well for the follow. So again, guys, for those who are just new, we had just more raiders come in. I'm a professional pen tester, red teamer. My name is Alhazred, and I am here to teach you the dark arts. So if you want to learn how to hack for real, like the real dark arts of hacking, you're in the right place, my friends. You are in the right place. Give me a follow, and I would be happy to teach you on more days. The Mantis 159159. Thank you for the follow as well, Cthulhu Fatagan. Lucky Dog 789. I'm going to time you out. I'm going to time all of you out if you don't shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Hello, fam. Hello, Angry Chair. Good to see you. You can make a Kali VM for free. Just download VirtualBox. It's all free. You can use, if you don't want to worry about that hassle, TryHackMe does offer an attack box for you to use. It's just if you want unlimited use of it, you will need the $10 a month paid subscription. The sub-gifting madman. We have some madmen in here. You're doing some recon stuff, getting organized, exploring tools, writing custom tools, testing stuff out. That's awesome, man. That sounds great. Sounds like the dark arts to me. We should honestly do a recon stream where we just pick a domain, pick a real-world domain. We can do some open-source recon on it. And I can show you the kind of stuff that you should be looking for with open-source recon. Domain recon and stuff like that. Gonna teach real hacking, not even showing matrix code. Geez. Yeah. Okay, we see that this has been decrypted for a while. So we see the encrypted value is this. So we just take this. And now watch. Watch what some magic is going to happen. Watch. You're currently logged in as Beadman. Okay, we're Beadman. We are loyal employee Beadman. I guess we'll keep that going just for kicks and gigs. But it hasn't cracked it yet, has it? No, it has not. So we can turn proxy intercept on. We're gonna refresh this page. Then burp. Intercept is on. We're gonna change this authentication cookie. And we're going to paste in this one. And then we're going to forward it. And look. Mike Magic. We are now logged in as admin. Like magic, chat. We have logged ourselves in as admin. And we do have an SSH key here, I see. So we can just take a look at this SSH key. Oh, it's, this is still, I do need to keep the forward. There we go. We can turn intercept off. So we do have this SSH key. Excellent. So we can copy this out. So we can vim, lazy RSA, I guess. And we will set paste. Paste that in. Chamad 0600 lazy RSA. Let's make sure it ended up okay. It looks like it did. Okay. So now we can authenticate as admin. My SSHK with name Meatsos. It looks like Meatsos is a username, I'm guessing. So we can SSH tech I lazy RSA Meatsos at 10:10:10:18. Yes. And there we're in. We are in as Meatsos. So it's lstech.la, and we do get the user.txt file. Excellent. We are in. We're in. Okay, we did the voice. We did the hacker voice, okay? All right, we're in as lazy. We're in lazy. Let's own user. Those of you who haven't seen this before, this is HacktheBox. We are going to paste the flag in here. Did it not copy? Copy. So yeah, we're just going to paste the flag in here. I'm going to say that was pretty easy, so we'll say it a 3. And there we go. We've owned user on lazy. We see there's an IPsec video walkthrough. Of course there is. And here's lazy. Here's the box itself, along with all the other ones. So lazy is a retired box. You do need a VIP subscription to be able to access the retired boxes. But we do now have user on lazy. So now let us try. So already, I have the hacking book. Do you recommend? But I'm having technical difficulties trying to set up the lab. Yeah, that book is outdated. That book is outdated. So setting up the lab is kind of a pain in the ass. I recommend you use. You can use up-to-date versions of most of the software. Like Nessus and stuff. Don't use, like, the only stuff, like, when you're installing the vulnerable software, like WarFTP and stuff and whatnot, make sure you use the correct versions. But other than that, you can use fully updated versions of, like, Kali and Nessus and Burp and all those things. I'd be down if you're interested in collabing sometime. Absolutely. Absolutely, I'd love to collab. I'm always looking for more people to collab. You don't recommend you put a Kali in a HDD and just use your PC as a Kali box? I've installed it in a spare SSD. Yeah, you can do a dual boot if you want. You can totally do a dual boot. I just prefer to use it in a virtual machine because I like to re-image my Kali every so often. And using it in a virtual machine is fine for me. But yeah, dual boot is a totally reasonable option as well. Server doesn't return any error state invalid padding, but message fails gratefully of deauthenticating. I suppose it's not vulnerable to padding Oracle, right? So it might not return an error outright. It might still be a 200 OK. Maybe the length is somewhat different. Maybe the length of the response is different. It's just or maybe the server just takes a little bit longer to respond if an error is reached. Maybe if the padding is wrong, the server just takes a little bit longer to respond, like noticeably longer. There's like any way that you can distinguish correct padding from correct decryption from an incorrect decryption, a padding Oracle attack is possible. It doesn't matter how you distinguish. It just matters that you can distinguish between the two. If you can, then the server is likely vulnerable to a padding Oracle attack. I love the hacking. Oh, yep. Eventually, that book is going to come. Eventually, that Weidman book is going to be updated. Like she's making a second version of it, but just by the nature of this stuff, as soon as she by the time that book even gets published, it's already going to be out of date again. So that's just something you're going to have to work with. Late to the stream. Hopefully everyone is good. Everyone's great. OMG Busta. We're learning about padding Oracle attacks. We're having a great time. Okay, great, fantastic time. Sajnine and Guskels, thank you for the follow. Cthulhu Fatagan to the both of you. All right, so we do have user.txt, but that's not enough for us, right? That's not enough. We want full dominance over the lazy box, okay? And already I'm seeing something interesting. All I've done, the only command I've run is lsla. What am I seeing that's interesting? What am I seeing here that's interesting? Don't overthink it. Nero2k is correct. Backup. What the fuck is this? So, what's interesting about backup? Well, first of all, it's non-standard. Like this is not here normally. On like a normal fresh install of Ubuntu, this binary is not here. In these CTF challenges, you want to be cognizant of anything on the box that's non-standard. Anything that isn't there by default means that the box creator put it there on purpose, which means that it's usually important for something. It usually means something. And in this case, our shell is doing us a big favor and is highlighting this in red. Why is it highlighted in red? I see some of you are already ahead of me. The SUID and the sgroup ID bits are both set. And since this is owned by root, executing this will execute as root every time. So if we can find some kind of vulnerability in this, some kind of code execution vulnerability in this, we can execute arbitrary code as root and therefore own this entire box. So let's first, this is a fucking buffer overflow again, I bet. God damn it. God, especially because I'm seeing PETA here. PETA is on this box. This is another fucking buffer overflow. I know it. God damn it. I hate doing buffer overflows in front of the audience. I hate it. If you want to know the theory and behind the buffer overflow, check out my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has a very in-depth explanation of buffer overflows, basic memory corruption and buffer overflow based vulnerabilities. Highly recommend you check that out. But let's just take a look at this backup. Let's just execute it first. Let's see what it does. So this is the shadow file? So this is the Etsy shadow file. So here we see, again, this is the Etsy shadow file. This contains the passwords. It looks like this backup file is catting out the Etsy shadow file for some reason. So we could potentially crack this. Potentially we could take this hash and we could crack it. However, from the 6 here, this is a SHA-512 hash, which means it's salted. SHA-512 hashes are very slow to crack. So unless the password is something like password or something like that, or root or something like that, it's not likely this is going to crack in any reasonable amount of time. And we also have this hash that also is weak. Those are the only two people with a shell here. So let's take a look at strings backup. Let's just see what strings are in this binary. Well, first let's see. Before we do that, let's do file backup. So it is an ELF. It is an executable Linux file. So it is a binary file. So let's do strings on backup and pipe that into less, just to make it easier to work with. Oh! So here's the cat Etsy shadow. What am I seeing here? Okay, thank God it's not a buffer overflow after all. What is notable about this? We already knew it was catting out Etsy shadow, right? We already know it was printing the contents of Etsy shadow. What am I seeing here that indicates how I can exploit it? God damn it. I don't know what that was. I just fucking choked. But you guys were getting it right. Psych is correct. Neuro2k is also correct. There's a weakness here. It looks like this file is using cat, but it's not specifying the full path. Okay? It's not specifying the full path. So let's do which cat. So this would be the full path. Bin cat. If you specify the full path, Linux will just execute that exact executable. And this, if we just lstecl bin cat, okay. If we just notice that this is owned by root and it's not writable by us, so we can't modify this binary. However, comma, it is not specifying bin cat. It is specifying. It's executing just cat. So what does Linux do when you just give it the name of an executable without the full path? What does Linux do? Good question, chat. Good question. The answer is that Linux will look at the path environment variable. Okay? So let's do echo $path. The path environment variable is in $path. So let's echo it out. So here we see a number of folders separated by colons. These are all folders that Linux will look in to see if there is an executable by the name of cat for it to execute. It will first check user local sbin for an executable named cat that it can execute. Okay? Then it'll check user local bin, then user sbin, then user bin. And it will keep doing this in that exact order until it finds an executable named cat. Now, normally, it would get here to bin. It would get here and it would see, oh, there's an executable named cat inside of the bin the /bin directory. We'll execute that. That's what's happening when we do this. When we do this, Linux is seeing cat is executing cat etc shadow, and it's looking in all of these directories for an executable named cat. However, and it's eventually getting here and finding cat inside of the /bin directory. However, if we modify this variable is modifiable by us. If we modify this variable, or simply place an executable named cat in user local sbin or user local bin or anything before the legitimate cat, which is in here, it will execute that instead. It will execute that other executable instead. Does that make sense? Is everyone following? Is everyone following what can go wrong here? We can force this executable to execute the wrong cat. And as a result, we can get code execution because it's executing as root. Is everyone following? This is a very common mistake in this is a very common thing for me to see in the wild. This is an extremely common method of privesking on Linux. Extremely common. And there's also similar things. DLL hijacking works in a similar way to this on Windows. Windows has a similar attack to this. Thanks for explaining this. You don't have to thank me, man. That's why I'm here. No thanks required. I'm here to explain shit to all the apes in my chat. All right, let's do Stream Raiders really quick before I set about exploiting this. All right, we can simply put a reverse shell or just copy bin bash and name it cat. Exactly. Yep, we can do both of those. We can do both of those. We can do both of those. We just have to make sure that Linux, when we execute backup, that Linux finds that executable before it finds the real cat, which is easy to do. We can usually not change the path either. Yeah, we can. Sure, we fucking can. We absolutely can change the path variable if we really wanted to. We don't really need to. User local sbin is usually writable, so we can probably write to that. Let's see. lstech user local sbin. Oh, it's not writable. Okay, so we do have to change the path variable. So we can just go export home meatsos. Or I'm sorry, I'm doing it wrong. Export path is equal to /home/meatsos $path. And so what this is going to do, we can echo path again. What this is going to do, notice now, home meatsos, the home directory of this user, of the user we're running as, is the first in this path. So now Linux, every time we execute something with a relative path, Linux is going to come to this directory first to see if there's a correct directory inside of it. Is that, or if there's a to see if there is a if there's an appropriate executable inside of it. So we can copy bin bash here, chmod bash. Let's make it 755 bash. Okay, let's make sure it's executable. And then we can move bash to cat. So their cat is. So now, permission denied. Oh, we're bin bashing emission. Okay, it's not going to work. We might have to do a bash script instead. I can see what's happening. So it's trying to execute. So it's trying to execute Etsy Shadow. It thinks I'm feeding it an executable to execute. We don't want to do that. So it's executing correctly. This is working correctly, by the way. This cat is not the real cat. This is the bash. The problem is that when you run bash Etsy Shadow, here, I'll show you. Bash Etsy Shadow. See? Same thing happens. So this is what's actually happening. Bash is trying to execute the Etsy Shadow file. I just messed up. So I remove cat. So we'll remove cat. So we'll vim cat. And now we'll make a shell script. Bin bash. Bin, we'll just have it execute bin sh. It's probably fine. Chmod 755 cat. So now it's executable. Okay. So now if we execute it, watch what happens. So now if we execute it, we get dropped into another shell. Obviously, it's not a root shell because we're not executing as root, but it does execute. So we can do cat Etsy Shadow, and we do see it drops us into a shell correctly. So now we exit out of this. Now we do backup, and it still didn't work. Why didn't it work? Oh, it's shell tac P again. I've done this on stream before. God damn it. Good call. Good call, stream. Vim. Vim cat. Bin sh. Can I do tac P for bin sh, or is that just a bash thing? We'll just do bin bash. Bin bash tac P. That makes it an interactive terminal. So now we execute it, and it still did not work. It's executing, it's just not executing as root. What am I getting wrong here? SH tac P, effective user? I mean, it's... Backup is SUID. Backup is SUID. So I'm confused... Yeah, it doesn't work with it. The TAC-P option doesn't work with bin.sh. Check if you have effective UID set to 0. No, I mean, that's my ID, but we can do... Let's do vimcat. Let's just have it execute the ID command here. Like that. No, it's the effect. So the UID is the effective UID is not getting set. Why is it not getting set? Run ID after the backup command. I mean, it's. I mean, I'm not gonna have like we know it's not root, because if it was root, it would have a pound sign here instead of. If it was root, it would have a pound sign here instead of the $sign. We're not root. I don't know why it's not executing as root, actually. What am I doing wrong here? Something I'm doing wrong. I mean, it's not... This is not executing as root. Don't you need sudo? No, it is a it is an SUID file. It always executes as root. You don't have to sudo it. Yeah, see, it's executing as Meetsos. Why is this not working? Bin sh instead of bash? Maybe that's it. binsh, who am I? Okay, there we are. So it looks like bash is not setting the SUID. So this time it's executing as root. So now if we just do, binsh bin bash tac p. So now we're root. See, now the pound sign has changed. So now we are root. cd root cat root.text. Wait, we don't have root.text. Oh, we fucked up our... we fucked with our shell. So so cat is still fucked up. We still have the fucked up cat. So we can rm home meet sos / cat. We can just remove that. Now if we cat root.text, now we have the flag. Now cat executes properly. There we go. So there is lazy.